68 Polara came back in 2003. I've worked with the Oceanside Police Department and love working. We have a great city, great police department, and the community is really supportive of us. And like all jobs, it has its hazards. And in this job, we lose officers in the line of duty. In 2003, on June 13th, was one of those days that we ended up losing a real hero, and that was a fellow by the name of Tony Zapatella. Tony was a Navy vet, U.S. Navy veteran, 6 years of service, and married and new baby, living the American dream, and he was also my beat partner. Heck of a nice guy, the kind of guy you'd want to have as your neighbor, a guy you want to have responding to your call if he's a police officer. Just a good, solid, decent person. Anyway, on June 13, 2003, Tony had just got done clearing a paper call, doing a police report, and cleared that call and was conducting a traffic stop roughly about 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the area of College Boulevard and Avenida de la Plata. He pulled over the car and it made its way into the parking lot of the Navy Federal Credit Union. Unknown to Tony, he had pulled over a felon who was holding drugs and had a weapon with him. The rest of the story is that during the course of that traffic stop, Tony lost his life in a gun battle and a tragic struggle to stand on that thin blue line of what it means to be a police officer and protect the public. And he was sworn to do it, and I'm proud to call him my partner, a fellow police officer, and my friend. During that time frame, a lot of us felt like it was a major loss. There's a myriad of emotions that go through you when you do that kind of thing. And for me, a catalyst, I use that as a catalyst to vent or channel that energy towards restoring the old 68 Polara. I talked about restoring the Polara with my wife and really put it off. And after that happened, I felt like I needed something to really occupy my mind and my time. And it was a good thing for me to really start doing something with my oldest son, Justin. So in 2003, I just found this car. It's a 68 Polara. I didn't realize that they were so rare, but a lot of equipment for Southern California goes down to Tijuana. Anyway, I was able to find this car. I found it up in Washington State, and I was able to pick it up for $2,000 from a fella up there in the northern part of there. I was able to get it shipped down here, and it was in pretty good shape, but there was clearly some cosmetic issues. The headliner had been all torn out, clearly rusted. The interior seating was all torn up and damaged, and a lot of engine things. The joke behind the guy I bought, I said, "Does it run?" He says, "It does, but when you fill it up for gas, you got to fill it up for oil as well." And I immediately took it down to a fella in Riverside County, and I said, "You got to make this thing work." Fortunate to me, the fella was a former CHP mechanic, and he was totally familiar with the Polara. So it was a love affair for him, and he was very good at getting the engine up and running. The next was to try and bring the car up to a point where it would mimic, and having to use images from historic, I'm the historian for the police department, to bring the car up to the specs that would have been. The cars we had then would have been either a 440 or a 383. This has a 318 in it. I'm not chasing cars anymore with this, but it's definitely chasing people's memories, and it allows them a chance to kind of reflect back to a different time when there was respect for law enforcement, like you probably have never seen. I know that there were tough times, but it was also a time where you felt like when you drove the police car through, people waved to you, and they weren't afraid of you. The little cherry light that's on top of it, there are 3 different lights. Oceanside was a small town. They didn't have all kinds of money, but they did have different resources, and they were also very frugal. So some of the variations of cars, a fleet of 10 of these is what they got in '68. Some had the little cherry like you have here, the Andy Griffith Mayberry, if you will. Some had lollipops on them, and some had the actually it was a fire engine light and siren that was supposed to be on the fender of an engine, of a fire engine, but it's what they had down in the city garage, so they threw it on. This car is quite a crowd pleaser. One of the most important things I like to use this car for, and as you remember, as I was telling you just a moment ago, I was trying to channel a lot of energy. You look at the car number, this would have been an 800 series. If you see a car that says 2 whatever, then it's either a 19 or a 2000 or what have you. This was in 1968, so it should have been 8 something, 801, 802. That would have been the series. Tony Zepatello, badge number was 269. And so to honor Tony and his memory, I put badge number 269 on this so that we don't forget who he is, what he sacrificed. One other guy I want to mention to you is Dan Besant. Dan Besant was another hero in the city of Oceanside. Dan lost his fight for the interests of justice in the community and in his life on December 20th of 2006. Again, he'll be greatly missed, but both their spirits live on, and I like to think that they live on in the men and women who wear the uniform. And hopefully when you see this car, I know it's great to come to a car show, but we hope you remember that there are men and women out there that are probably serving you. We do love our job, and we love to serve you. And let's not forget Tony. Thank you.